Okay, because my son is Barrington and I'm Barry, so we have.
You should call him BP3.
I do, I
I'm
do.
I'm just messing with you, dude.
I want him to go
Oh,
by Barrington like when he goes to school.
oh, dude, we're live, dude.
Oh, live
We're
and direct,
live.
full effect.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Do you have it pulled up on Facebook?
I don't. Should I?
No, because there's a delay and it'll like mess with your mind. And if you do, just turn it down.
Okay. Yeah. No. I figure I just have only have Zoom up right now, and I have it full screen, so it's two isoy, I think. Or
Barrington Price, ladies and gentlemen.
what up, Parizai? Happy to be on the show, man. Happy to talk to you, man. It's been a long time.
I didn't know I had a show, but I guess this is what it is. I'm
It
coming up
is
to
a
the
show,
world.
man. I feel like it's the where is everyone from Lifetime Fitness at the rim, and then whoever else is in your random sphere of
Oh,
influence. But
yes.
I've been seeing all these people from Lifetime Fitness, and it was like, hey, I got to get on there with Paul. We opened up Lifetime together, you know. It's like,
Oh, dude,
right,
that's true. I remember. I
I
remember.
do,
I'm
I do
interested to
too.
get your thoughts on that, Barry. But before I ask you that, I see you got a Jamaica shirt on right there,
Yep,
and I know you went to Jamaica.
that's
What
true.
did you do in Jamaica, Barry?
Well, the last time I was in Jamaica, I actually got my citizenship to be a dual citizen. Right, I got it through
Really?
descendantship. Right. Yeah, my dad was born in Jamaica. Came here when he was in high school, more or less, and uh, I want to continue that bloodline of Jamaican ship, have you will. So that's what I did last time I was there.
Were there
That
any
was a perfect trip.
Jamaicans in Jamaica?
There was a few. There was a few.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you feel like you just kind of fit right in, or did you feel like an outsider?
both. To be honest with you, there was aspects where I just felt, what's crazy about Jamaica is I never have a bad hair day. I can just tell like my body is made for the tropics. I am meant to be closer to the equator in that tropical zone. But once I had got my Jamaican citizenship and kind of kicking it with the locals, it was definitely like you're from foreign. It's kind of the attitude, the vibe that you get from them, right? They don't look at you as a true Jamaican, which I get it. Um, but
Did
yeah,
you ever feel like kind of scared? Because I've heard people say that Jamaica can be kind of like a scary place sometimes, depending on where you go. Is that not true, or did you feel it?
Uh, so I did have something interesting happen to me. I did get my phone stolen while I was there. I was really caught off guard by the whole situation. But I wouldn't say that I ever felt scared. Now I will say, obviously it helps that I'm there with like my dad and other family that are like locals and know Jamaica, right, and kind of know where to go and where to stay. So I wouldn't advise any other foreigners that are not familiar with Jamaica to, just kind of go astray and hang out like locals because there are some scary places for sure. But no, I never felt threatened in that sense.
Yeah, one time I went to Puerto Rico, and actually I went a couple of times, and I had a bunch of people telling me it's like super scary. You need to watch out, and that may be true, and I might just have been in the nice places,
Yeah,
and I was with the locals, but I never really felt like afraid. There was this one area that we passed by that apparently if you go in there, like cops don't even go down there. Like it looked like a bunch of I don't know how to explain it, but they're like, don't ever go down there. If you go down there, you're if they kill you, it doesn't matter because there's like no authority there.
yeah, yeah.
So
Crazy.
so I'm interested in like your perspective from opening at Lifetime because I know you were at don't tell me the name of this place, Bally's, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you went from Bally's to Lifetime,
That's correct.
and then like how was that experience for you? Like going into Lifetime? Do you remember like the trainers initially? How did you feel about it? All that.
Yeah, no, I've Lifetime was great. I remember feeling like it was like I felt like I got drafted into the NBA. Obviously not to that level, but I mean, I knew I had an opportunity to make money to where I could be financially independent. I could move out. I could, afford a decent lifestyle kind of a thing. And it was like looking back on it, it was truly a blessing in disguise, right? Because Bally's was over there off of Exchange Parkway in 410.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just a totally different customer demographic kind of thing that you're working with. And so being a personal trainer, being a luxury bill for most people, right? There was just not the demographic of people that could afford it. And I just remember at Bally's, we used to have this thing like when you have the person that can't afford you, you have to be that good. Like they cannot leave you without wanting to work out with you again. Like that is how you need to do. And so it was good because I was able to develop that customer service and develop that what we woo, have you will, winning others over, right? And so once I took that work ethic over to Lifetime, and it was awesome. It was phenomenal, and I remember just about all the other trainers that were there, and remember feeling somewhat intimidated by everyone else. Kind
Yeah.
of,
I mean, you had to brush shoulders with me, so that's understandable. I
you
don't
know, it's
blame you.
funny.
I don't blame you, dude. You saw me and you're like, oh shoot, dude, this is the top tier, best of the best. I get it.
Yeah, no, I remember. Lifetime was your first personal training. That was your first time being a personal trainer, or after being certified, right? Or I think you
Yes,
had
sir.
trained like some friends, kind of a
No.
little bit,
Yeah.
but
Never.
nothing like it was official. Yeah, no, I remember because we went through. I think it was like an interview with Brett, and I think we had like already hired, but it was kind of part of just the formalities.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just thinking and looking back, like, oh, please, one rookie, I could tell him how it works.
Dude, I'm having some memories that are coming back to me. I'm
Yeah.
dang it, what was I just thought of a memory of like you initially, like when I remember now. I mean, this isn't really going to be that funny. It was funny to me though. Okay, so like apparently, I guess like you were very competitive with me. I don't you that's at least what you told me. You're
Right.
like, yeah, like I try to just beat you, Paul. If I beat you, then like when it came to revenue and all that.
For sure.
And I remember like they at that time, I think Pablo was a department head. I forgot who was the department head, but he would send out the numbers, and I want to say he sent out the numbers, and you're like 2,000 ahead of me the day before, and it was like closeout. And then anyway, I remember the next day was like the first of the month, and you're looking on the computer, and then like I was kind of behind you, and then you're like, and you're all like super pissed that like I like close all these deals on the last day. Do you remember that or no?
Yeah, I do remember that. That's why I
Yeah.
started laughing halfway as you were telling the story. Yep. No, that I mean, that's a great learning lesson from it, right? I mean, it's not over till it's over. Because I remember you. I remember you coming back and sharing the secret or whatever when we were in the like team meeting, and I don't know, you stayed basically until you were prepared to stay till midnight of the 30th or 31st, whatever that month in was, and you were just talking to everybody and handing out towels and doing what, you know, trying to. You were the definition of trying 100% everything that you can, right? Like you weren't gonna leave until like, hey, I talked to everybody, I stayed as late as I could. What else could I do? Like,
Wow, you know what's interesting about that? I bet if there's like some people listening right now that know me later, they're like they think I'm the opposite of that. You know what I
really,
mean? Because like later on I took on the personality of like Paul just does whatever he wants, he leaves, he goes out to the pool and just takes naps and he does whatever. But um and I get it, but the thing is I kind of handled what I had to do. Do you know what I mean? Like
right?
if I already hit my goal, I don't see the point to I get it too. It's like a team thing too, but what I
Yeah.
found later is when grinding it month after month after month, because when I first got in, it was all about hitting that goal. Hit the goal, got to hit the goal, got it every month. And I actually had an interesting experience. It was kind of like Office Space, that movie.
Yeah.
You remember that? You remember that scene where he just kind of stops caring?
Yeah, vaguely.
Well, that kind of happened to me where I just one day I was like, you know what? And interestingly enough, that was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life because after that, things were so much easier because I wasn't just grinding it out. Don't get me wrong. I think there's a time to grind and I think that's
Yeah.
great. But at the end of the day, that's just going to burn you out. And I'm sure you saw that. A lot of people got burnt out. They couldn't
Oh,
handle
for
it,
sure.
things like that.
I remember feeling it myself.
Yeah.
And what would you say when you took on that attitude, was it easier to hit goal, or like some months you hit goal, some months you wouldn't, but it didn't bother you?
Dude, it was so much easier.
Really?
I kind of want to tell the story, but it's a little bit long. I'll try to bring it real, like kind of condense it as
Yeah.
much as I can. So I was sitting there with a woman, right? And then she was, at that time you could adjust your rate. Now at Lifetime you can't adjust your rate. So whatever your rate is based off your
Your level.
level, then that's what you have to charge. So I'm talking to this woman, and she's like, "Well, that's too much." And I'm sure you remember, like if you bought like certain packages, you get free stuff. Like, so she was going to get like a free metabolic test. She was going to get a free heart rate monitor. And she's like, well, it's too much. And it was like on the last day of the, wait, it was on the second to last day of the month, I want to say. I just remember it was at the end of the month. It was either the last day or the second to last day. And I was just trying to hit goal. So I was just trying to do whatever so I can get this woman to sign up for training. And she's like, well, it's too much, too much. And I just kept bringing it down. And then the rate got so low to where I couldn't SNS it. If anyone's watching right now, SNS means, let's say I give it to Barry. Barry would be like, no, dude, I'm not going to take this client. The rate's too low. So then I had to train her. So then, anyway, it got to a point where I said, hey, listen, no one's going to take this. I have to train you because no one's going to take this at this rate. So I need to think about this. So I went home, and I don't know what happened, but that night there was just like something that clicked into me where I didn't care. So the next day I met up with her and I said, hey, I'm not going to do it. And then she goes, oh, okay, fine. I'll just pay the normal rate. I said, okay, cool. And then she goes, still get that metabolic test, right? And I go, no, that was yesterday. And then she was like, what? But you said I get it. And I go, yeah, but that was yesterday, not anymore. And then she goes, okay, fine, I'll still do it. But I get the watch, right? And I go, no, that was yesterday. And then she's like, but you said I get the watch. I go, yeah, but that was yesterday, not today. So she's like, okay, I'll do it anyway. And then she's like, I want to train with you. But then she wanted me to train during my lunch hour because I had no openings. That's why I felt like I had to give her away as a client. And she wanted me to basically work on my lunch. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm going to give you away. So from one day to the next, she ended up paying the full rate. She ended up losing out on the metabolic test, the watch, and a possibility to potentially train with me. And it was just so interesting the way when I kind of stood my ground, she just yielded. When before she was like coming at me and I was bending. And then after that, I was like, you know what? If I don't make goal, then I don't make goal, but I'm not going to, like, I don't think.
You valued your time and you valued yourself.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, Barry.
No, I mean, I took away a lot from that. Just in that, no matter, I think, what your career is, we all kind of, whether you're coming out of college or entering the workforce in general, right? You go to this like pick me thing. But at a certain point, once you kind of hone in on your craft and improve and you value your worth kind of just as you do, you go from this like pick me to I want to work on, or I'm going to work on that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, it's not just so black and white. I mean, there's a big evolution process that kind of goes from that, right? But that's ultimately kind of what I took away from your two different mentalities, right? And one, you not necessarily valuing yourself, you kind of just valuing the business and whatever it takes to get it done. Stay, and then in the other sense, it's like, no, I'm worth it, and there's supply and demand, and if you see the value in me, great. If you don't, good luck to you, kind of thing. And I'm here to help. Otherwise, kind of. So, no, good for you, Paul. Are you still at Lifetime?
No, sir.
Gotcha. You 100% on your own.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked Lifetime. I like it there. It's the environment to me that's the best. But
yeah,
none of my clients wanted to go back, so
gotcha.
So I just started doing the garage thing again, and then also virtually.
Nice.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so and my intent isn't to go political or whatever, but it is connected to what we're talking about. So
Sure.
how do you feel? Well, first off, do you kind of do you understand kind of socialism and that type of thing, or do you have any thoughts on that?
So I'm not the most articulated, or I'm not the educated on it, right? Um, I understand it at a 10,000 foot level, and ultimately I am, or at the 10,000 foot level, I I don't like it.
You don't like it. Okay. Well, yeah, the reason why I'm asking you that is because I think that what we work in is almost like kind of like a little microcosm of a capitalistic society. So, you know, like you can bring in 10,000, $15,000 a month. You know what I mean? 20,000, Brad, 30,000 or whatever. If you hustle and you can stay late if you want to, but you can also just not make it. So it's I just think it's interesting that because do you know Dustin?
Justin Castro?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
As
I
far
know of him. I don't, we're not boys, but I know
oh,
who he.
okay. Well, I mean, he's a trainer, and it's just interesting talking to some trainers that are kind of pro socialism when they've worked in a training environment. And I just don't think a training like, for example, let's say we all got paid the same.
Yeah.
Let's just say we all got paid $15 an hour. Would you be out there like hustling, talking to people, getting uncomfortable, trying to close deals and this and I can see both sides. I just think, from coming from that, I like the idea of me getting paid for what I produce and not
Yeah.
just my time. And
Right.
the reason why I wanted to ask you that is because you're kind of in two businesses that are kind of that way. I mean, you do training, so you could be innovative there. You could work more there if you want to. You can be efficient however you want. But also in the real estate area is kind of similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could work 80 hours a week, but if you aren't efficient or effective and you're not producing, you're not going to get any money.
Right.
And you know that. The same thing true. Well, kind of, because at Lifetime they would pay you a flat rate anyway if you didn't kind of hit it. But the point is you get kind of paid on your productivity.
Right.
So personally, I like that better than just a flat rate. And of course, there's kind of pros and cons. There's that security. We would all feel kind of secure. Maybe we'd feel less pressure to kind of sell and stuff like that. At the same time, you know, uh, just the idea of, let's say, somebody twiddling their thumbs at the desk, getting paid the same as me when I'm, let's say, out there doing stuff. I
Right.
feel like it disincentivizes you to kind of work hard.
Yeah. No,
Eh, eh,
100%. So the and pivoting a little bit from capitalism, socialism, but just kind of
yeah.
more my story behind it. I remember like at Lifetime when I first got there, I was like, man, this is amazing. And similar to your point, right? Like I was I remember I had gotten to a full disclosure. I had just put a house under contract, right, to buy it. And needed to save up for all this furniture. And then I was on my way to NASM in Houston. I was going to like a 2-day conference and gonna come back and take the test. And I was riding with my girl Mary Jane, and it was a little whoop whoop. And actually, I got arrested in Seguin and caught a little case. And I was like, oh man, my mom co-signed to like help me buy the house, and it was like I didn't want to. I had to keep that from her. You know what I mean? So I needed to make extra money so I could get a lawyer, pay like pay the fine, keep that like all separate. And the only reason I was able to do that is because I was training. So like I remember before that I was like I never trained before 8 a.m. It was like as soon as I got bailed out, I was like, hey Brett, we still got those 5 a.m. people that want to work. like I'm down. And so that's what it started. That's what inspired me to like just start working hard, right? And it was great. I was able to kind of do that. But then, after a couple of years or whatever, having success at Lifetime, it was kind of I remember just being like, man, if I could just go to a job where I could make the same, but I'd be on salary, like that'd be awesome, And I remember thinking that, and then and it wasn't even so much about making more money or on the salary, but I was like, I wanted paid time off. Because I remember at Lifetime, it was really the only vacation you could have is if like maybe you schedule a lot of clients on the front end one week, and the second week you schedule people on the back end. Maybe you can have a nice Friday to Monday or Friday to Tuesday kind of a quick trip, right? But never like a 7 to 10 day trip. And so, after Lifetime, went to UTSA, and then work at my W-2 job is work at Rackspace.
I still don't understand what you do there.
So at Rackspace, I'm a supplier manager,
Mm-hmm.
and for the company, we purchase software, right? So whether it's I forget what Lifetime uses, but remember it was like the membership database kind of thing where people would house that, or a Slack or a Zoom, anything like that we purchase on behalf of the company,
Mm-hmm.
negotiating it kind of thing on our
Oh,
behalf.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I got a job there at Rackspace, and which was cool. I mean, it was a little. I was making a little bit less, but
which is cool, right? Because don't you still work there?
I do currently work there, although I'm transitioning to doing real estate full time. So the language I try to approach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
worries. I'm just curious.
Yeah. But anyways, so started, and I was taking a little bit of a hit money wise, but I had 4.5 weeks of paid time off. So like that was awesome kind of thing. But I hit a point, I think it was 2017, when it was weird. Like my role went from like salary to hourly kind of thing. And at this point it was like, okay, so you only work 40 hours, anything over that is like overtime kind of thing. And so we had we had worked out this thing to where, because we were busy at the time, we were like really working closer to 50-hour weeks. We had like 10 hours of PTO or overtime approved, right? And so I was doing that, doing a really job, and then I like got a promotion, and the promotion took me back from hourly to now salary kind of thing. And while they gave me like a raise in my base pay, I didn't get overtime anymore. So it was, I got a promotion, but my paychecks were less. So that's, I mean, you can see there's a big problem there. You know what I mean? And then that really takes away from you're not incentivized to work hard anymore. Now it's like you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I've now kind of seen the evolution of it kind of thing,
Yeah.
right?
You've gone full circle almost.
Totally gone full circle.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, I don't know. It's what I love about the American system is anybody can be anything, right? And in a practical world, right? Kind of thing. If you want something, you can work hard for it, and you can go do it, kind of thing.
Yeah, dude. Isn't that so simple? And it's so like, because you and I, we both grew up, it's just like you just take that for granted.
Yeah, no,
right?
Totally do. Totally
Dude,
do.
yeah.
And
it's something I haven't appreciated until recently. It's just like, dude, I'm lucky I get to like do extra stuff if I want to. I don't have to.
Right.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. No, and so ultimately, that's really what I love about the capitalist system, right? Is you make of it what you want, kind of thing. Now, I do think that there are things that can always be improved, right? Kind of thing. I definitely think, I try not to generalize and be too much of a, they say and the system set up and this and that, right? Because just like we tell our clients, at the end of the day, you control your hands, right? Like you control the food that goes in your mouth. You control what you take on, kind of. But it would help if there was other messages, curriculums, classes, stuff like that, to get people to build better habits, right? Like one of my heartburns with the whole COVID thing is like, all right, we wear masks, social distance, right? And those with underlying issues, you'll be careful. Like, all right, well, how about work on that immune system? You know what I mean? Here's what you need to be doing on that immune system to kind of help be preventative. Whatever your underlying issues are, here are some things you could be doing to address those underlying issues to improve your conditions. So in the event you do come across this pandemic of the virus, you're going to be better off for it, kind of thing. So, I mean, that's my 2 cents on it.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's cool. Yeah, I want to shift gears a little bit too, because I'm just curious your thoughts on, I'm kind of curious who kind of who sticks out when you think of initial like opening at Lifetime, like that first crew or the beginning trainers? Does anyone pop out?
Well, obviously Pablo, because I mean he was, he hired us, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That was Daddy.
Do you ever talk to him anymore?
I do talk to Pablo.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is he at? Is he
So
on Facebook? Maybe he defriended
yeah,
me.
he is on the
I
Facebook.
don't see him anymore. Maybe
Yeah,
he.
no, he's on Facebook. He's in Minnesota. He was actually looking to move down here.
Mhm.
Um, but he's trying to work things out. He got remarried. I don't know if you know, but his wife that he was when we were at Lifetime, she passed. Um,
No, what?
yeah,
Oh, she had
yeah.
tumors on her brain.
I know she had some conditions, and just
Oh,
I don't know how
maybe I
far back this
forgot that. I
goes.
didn't know that she passed away. Wow.
Yeah, she passed. It's been a couple years now.
Oh, wow. Hmm.
Yeah, but I remember the killers, man. I remember, and when I say killers, I'm talking about the people that put in the revenue
Tell
kind
me
of.
about it.
So,
Who pops out?
Neil is the first person that comes to mind.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
remember
yeah,
his
yeah.
last name, but bald-headed Big
Campbell.
Neil Campbell. There you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was just thinking about him the other day. I thought I saw him,
Okay.
and I had to like kind of take a second get like look at him. Um, but anyway, yeah, I'm curious where he's at. Okay, Neil. Okay, go on.
Yeah, Neil, Brett, obviously.
You ever talk to Brett?
No, I mean I wish him like happy birthday on Facebook, but that's about to the extent of it.
Okay.
Um, let's see. I mean, the whole original crew from Mara and Helica,
Oh yeah,
Patricia,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Josh,
yeah.
Jack.
See, I wonder where Jack's at.
Oh, Jack's serving the good community of San Antonio, SAPD.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Uh,
But like,
yeah,
he,
I'm pretty sure. Like, and as a cop, I could see you like stay off social media. And he was
right.
already kind of like a stick to myself kind
You're
of
right.
homebody kind of guy. So
Yeah,
it
totally.
doesn't surprise me he's not active
Right.
social media.
I I always kind of wondered what I heard
I
he was.
think Josh still talks to him. Josh Fields.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the last time I talked to Josh, he told me he did, which is that was before my son was born, so like 3 years ago now,
Hmm.
whatever. But Eric Gutierrez,
Hmm.
um, and then there's the people that weren't on the original crew, but then like Anthony and Christy and Eddie and I guess some of the original first people coming in, Houston Carpenter,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Andrew Hachey.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Iman Johnson.
Iman Johnson, my boy Iman Johnson.
I want to talk to him. I heard that you talked to him on the phone, and I kind of tried to figure out how to do that, and I was unclear about it, and I actually feel guilty about it that I never talked to him. You know.
Yeah. Um, I went and saw, after he came out on the news,
Mhm.
I went and visited him a couple times.
Oh, you actually went there. Yeah, I wanted to go there too because I mean I don't know where he's at. Is he still here?
Yeah, so from my understanding, I haven't gone since COVID. But I mean he's still downtown in like the Bear County jail, like off Frio Street or whatever. Um,
Oh, okay.
and he's awaiting. I saw on the news like he's one of the high profile cases that are scheduled to hit the docket whenever courts
Right.
resume in person stuff again. Um, but yeah, oh good old Iman. Um, I mean,
Man, that's rough, dude.
sad like one of the saddest situations like I've ever experienced in my life, like all the way around, all the way.
When you say that you experience, you mean you can feel empathy for him, or you felt the sadness? Like,
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, just from and I shouldn't say I experienced, right, because I wasn't
right,
deep in it, but with someone, anytime you work with someone day in, day out for over 2 to 3 years, I mean, there's obviously, there's that camaraderie that you guys build, that's some more of a rapport, right? Kind of things. Especially as trainers, people that are, spending, I don't know, what did you guys, Paul, like of just hours there at the gym, not necessarily working, just hours there, easily 50, 50 to 60 hours a week on average, I would say.
yeah, definitely for sure. Because I mean, your minimum day is going to be 9 hours at the very minimum, because your
Yeah.
hour, your lunch is an hour.
Right.
And normally we would stay there longer anyway, you know,
Whether you're working out or just
working out. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, obviously, anytime you spend that much time around someone for so many years, it's like closer than some of your family members, right? So
Mhm.
um, just to have someone that close to me uh, be involved in a situation that was so you know taboo
Mhm.
um, was just it's and obviously I mean he didn't bear the worst of the situation, right? I mean the the first responders took it the hardest, right? I mean there's no coming back from that, and so obviously you empathize and really feel for them and their family, and the braveness that they took, and then um, obviously not really speaking too much of the facts, but just the fact that he was involved, and how much it affects his kids, and his um,
Man, dude, it's the worst.
but yeah, I mean it's just
It's the worst.
sad.
I mean, like it just kind of reminds me of involuntary manslaughter. Like, let's say somebody gets drunk and they drive and they kill somebody, right?
Yep.
Like, I'm not saying that that person shouldn't go to jail or prison or they shouldn't get in trouble. It just sucks that you don't intend to kill somebody. That wasn't your intent. Like, you go out on the street, you made a
Yeah.
bad decision and then something bad happens. So, and I don't even know the specifics of what's going on with him. So I don't even know if it's for sure. If who knows? But let's just say if he did do it, he didn't intend that to happen. You know what I mean? It's the worst. It's the worst situation. Like
Right.
from what I understood, one firefighter died. One was like somehow mentally messed up, and like another one like had to get something amputated. So it's just like you got this spectrum of like firefighter family that loses his life. You got a firefighter who's like mentally messed up now. You got a firefighter who lost a limb.
Yeah.
And before that, if I understand correctly, like a firefighter hadn't died in like decades. So like it was like the perfect storm that they're gonna come down on him.
Yeah.
Assuming if he did it, they're gonna make an example out of him. So I feel for him in a lot of ways. And I've talked to people about this, and I feel like they kind of get misconstrued with where I'm coming at. Like I'm not justifying what he did. I'm just saying it sucks,
Yeah.
because no one does that. No one does that on purpose. So
Yeah.
anyway, dude.
Yeah. No. And I don't want to speak on it because I don't want to formulate an opinion on it or nothing. All I will say is that uh, when I went down to talk to him, and I told him what I heard, what was reported on the news, right? He had a different story, right? As he probably does or whatever. But
Right.
the when I told him that the news had reported that, he said he had kind of admitted to it, kind of thing. Um, he said that he hadn't done that, and so I was surprised about that kind of thing. And it was one of those, like, obviously as a person so close to someone, you have no. I see why you would be disqualified from the jury, right? Because I mean, obviously your opinion is going to be totally swayed or whatever kind of thing. So
Right. Yeah.
I just, if he was out, I feel like I would want to say that on his behalf, kind of thing, right? Because of what's reported on the news, and what he doesn't get to say, he doesn't get to post anything about anything on that or whatever. So, um, you know, my heart goes out to, I believe, Scott Dean is the one who lost his life, and I don't know the other two firefighters that were deeply impacted, but I heart goes out to them as well, and just a totally sad situation all the way around. Next topic.
Real quick, is he still jacked?
uh, he, Iman, he looked like Iman, but he would gain. And what I mean by that is, like, Iman would be one day like 225, and then the next day he would look, or next week he would look like 205, kind of thing. And he was definitely looking closer to the 205 version
Oh, okay.
when I saw him, but he definitely didn't look like somebody you would
Mess with.
you'd be the first one to go pick on, right?
Do you still talk to Tim? You still doing any training with Tim?
Tim Kozelski.
I don't know, the dentist.
Yeah, right. Yes, the dentist. No, we stay in touch. We're in contact, but no, we don't train anymore. We both kind of too busy with other things going on in life.
So Chantel, Lupe. Is there anyone else I would know?
That's it. Those are like
That's
the
it.
only two people. Yeah, those
Okay.
are the only two people that I work out.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, I got I have I guess something that sticks out in my mind. I want to see if maybe you remember it. And you asked this question like way back in the day, and I thought it was kind of like a weird question when you asked me that. But anyway, so like we're at the desk and you go, "Hey, Paul, um, where do you think heaven is?" And I was just like, "Where's that? Where do I think heaven is?" Like when you asked that question, to me, it was like you saw heaven as being like a physical place, but like somewhere else in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you still feel that way. Because I always imagined heaven as being like a different dimension. So you could travel the whole universe and you could never find it because it's like in a different place. Does that make sense? Like if
Yeah.
you think of like, let's say if you have a picture of the universe on a flat piece of paper, like heaven would be like another piece of paper that's next to it. But you can look through that whole paper and you'll never see it because it's one layer deep down under. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now, as I kind of learn about physics and like the different dimensions, and it kind of makes me wonder that. Well, first off, let me ask you this question: how do you, when you think about you still believe in God, right? You're still
Absolutely.
okay. So when you think about heaven, how do you think about it? Do you think is it being a physical place? Do you think of it as being in a different dimension, like I described, or do you not put much thought in it? Or
You know, I'm open-minded to it, right? Because there is no physical proof, right? In this lifetime, at least, right? Of all right, here, this I am right by saying it's a physical place. You are right by saying it's a different dimension. I
right?
like, you know what I mean?
Just what do you
So
think, or what? I mean, obviously nobody knows, but
right. You know, I'm open-minded to it, right? Like, I don't know, because one thing I often kind of struggle with, right, is you know, like for couples that like an old school couple that stayed together until death do you part, right? And then the widow or the widower remarries, right?
mhm.
Now, when the person who had, let's say he had two wives or three wives, or vice versa, husbands, when you go to heaven, is it like, are you with both wives? Or you know what I mean? Like, is it just one big like, I'm here for the gangbang? Or,
Hey, that reminds me of another thing you said too. I remember you were like, "Hey," and I think this was like a completely different time, but you were just like I want to go to heaven, but it just seems like heaven's kind of lame because all the stuff that I want to do, it's like I can't do it in heaven. You know what I mean? I,
yeah.
I, I don't know if do you remember saying that? Does that sound like something you'd
Yeah,
say?
yeah,
Do you
yeah, yeah.
remember what I said?
I can't remember.
Because I remember giving you a response, and you were like, "Oh, okay, I never thought of it in that way." Kind of like, so I basically, if I remember correctly, I think I said something to the effect of, "When you go there, those desires won't be there." You know, like here on Earth, we have the desire, let's say, to do a gangbang or whatever, like you said,
Right, the
right?
desires of the flesh.
Yeah. But when we go there, it's like we don't have that desire.
Right.
I don't know if that's biblical. That's just kind of that's how I kind of reason through that. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I kind of wonder similar kind of things too.
No, for sure, and that's why I think I think it's something we, it'll surprise us all, kind of thing. I see nowadays I'm a little bit more mature. I don't have as much libido running through my veins. It still pumps through strong, but not as much as a 20-year-old.
Oh wow, you and I don't have that much in common. Like I can see that we're different now.
How so?
Well, you're saying you don't have that much libido. You don't have that. You're not like a 20 year
Not as
old.
much, as
No, I'm just playing around.
as a
It's a joke.
20-year-old, it's off the charts. It's like it's unreal, right? Now I'm a
Yeah.
little bit more. I'm a father now, so I look at things like differently, kind of more mature. Be a good example for him. And so I guess kind of going back to, what is heaven to me, right? I see it as a couple different things. I do still see it like as a place, right? And this is only I don't know, I'm not a Bible expert, but I do remember the stories from the Bible around the whole, uh, the reason God had, or the story about he creating men to speak differently in different languages, right? Like they were building a staircase that was going to take them all the way to heaven. And so then God had, like, they woke up and I don't know, one spoke Israeli and the other one spoke Arabic kind of thing, whatever. So they couldn't communicate, right? And so I think kind of ingrains in my mind that it's a physical place. You must be able to build a stairway to it, right? That's why God kind of stopped us. I mean, now in the practical sense, I don't know anymore, but I don't rule that out. But I also kind of taken from somewhat of a Confucius or a Buddhist state in that heaven is kind of reaching enlightenment, right? It's a certain state when you don't have the desires of lust anymore. You don't have the desires of greed and jealousy. You have kind of really mastered like the human nature and like really irrational, and you kind of mix that balance of you're a capitalist, but at the same time you're helping others like next to you, right? And just being all around good, hitting it all on all cylinders in human capacity of that, right? And really reaching that perspective. And maybe when you die, if you don't reach that mental perspective, then you come back again in that incarnament or something. I don't know, but I definitely believe that, the as crazy as it is as a life, I don't think that when our flesh is out, that the spirit is gone, right? I mean, it continues on in a different capacity of some sort. I don't know the answer. I don't. Nobody ever does, but that's my faith and conviction that I feel and know that the soul and the spirit will continue on past my whatever I accomplish here on earth, or during my time in this
So
body.
you mentioned like a few different things there, like Buddhism, reincarnation. So it sounds like you kind of dabble in these spiritual concepts. Have you ever dabbled in the fact that it's all just fake and all there is material and all you are is just a collection of atoms and molecules? Has that ever crossed your mind?
Yeah.
And have you ever kind of like started to lean in that way? Or have you always been like, nah, there's got to be something
No, I mean, I don't refute kind of like, I guess what we call it, science or evidence, kind of like, I think that is all there. Um, but I also don't refute, we call it
there?
miracles, or you call it, yeah, nothing short of a miracle, right? And it's weird because I remember seeing this on, I think Morgan Freeman had been doing a documentary on National Geographic a few years back, like on God and religion or whatever. And
Oh,
it
really?
was there was I remember the episode where there was these window cleaners and they were cleaning. It was a really high building, and the scaffolding had gone wire, and they both fell. Two guys on there were brothers. They both fell. One died and one lived. And so Morgan Freeman was asking the one that lived, like, do you think it's a miracle that you lived? And he was like, no, because if it was a miracle, my brother would have lived, kind of thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it it was what it was, right? But if I'm looking at it from a pure scientific perspective, right, a body falls from the Empire State Building, right, going at drops at 9.8 meters per second.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going purely off of that, there's no way he should be alive, right?
So some dude fell off a really high building, the Empire State Building, and lived?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds
It,
weird.
it and so it's those type of things that is like, all right, there's something else too. There's something inexplicable, right? That can't be touched, right?
Dude, you know what I love about this, our reality, our experience, is the fact that we get to kind of pick and choose how we perceive things. So
Yeah.
here a guy is that fell off the Empire State Building, assuming your story is true. He fell off the Empire State Building, lives, and says, nah, it's not a miracle. He can choose to perceive it however he wants. Somebody like finds nickel on the ground. Thank you, God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think it's so cool that we kind of have that luxury to choose how we want to perceive things. It kind of reminds me of one of my friends. Her dad is a very successful businessman, very successful, and he doesn't drink any alcohol. He has a twin brother, or had a twin brother, and his twin brother died of alcoholism. Okay.
Yep.
If you were to ask, this is the situation. You have one twin that's a successful businessman, does not drink alcohol. You have another twin that died of alcoholism, basically drank himself to death, right? If you were to ask this guy when he was alive, they asked him, like, why do you drink so much? Why are you an alcoholic? His response was, because my dad was an alcoholic. That's why I'm an alcoholic. If you ask this guy, hey, why are you so driven, and why do you have a business and you don't drink any alcohol? He'll say, because my dad was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So you have the same thing, but you can perceive it how you want. So in that way, it's just another one of the variables that I look at when I think about how amazing this life is and how free this life is, that you get to kind of choose that, and to a large degree, he that's a choice that he's making.
Right.
He's deciding how he wants to perceive it. Hey, I got a question for you, Barry.
Yes, sir.
I'm interested. Do you have any memories of like me that pop out in your mind from back in the day? Anything that kind of sticks out?
Nothing like in particular. I just remember thinking, like, after the first month or so, whatever, like, this guy is weird.
Yeah, totally.
Paul is just weird. That's all I remember. And then, after years of, knowing you, like, yes, that fact is still 100% true. You're a unique, weird individual, but what you are more than anything is authentic and genuine. Than like, more than anybody I've ever met. Like, you're gonna keep it 100, right? I know I'm gonna get an honest answer from you. There's gonna be no sugarcoating it. It like, for some people, I think it depends on like who's around, right? As far as like the answer that you say, and whether you think your client will like it or you think they won't like it.
Dang.
I always thought, there's no BSing with Paul. It's 100% real, authentic, genuine, whatever you get.
Wow.
And I don't even have I wish I had like a story that like represented that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't. Another thing that I think really sticks with me is, I remember you watching us, like, remember the Lifetime basketball league, like the first one. It was like Michael Finley was playing, and you were watching us.
Okay.
Michael Finley was not playing that game, and it was the championship game, and it was a close game, and we ended up winning. And I remember you came up to me and you were like, "Hey, Barry, I was impressed with how you kept your composure, or helped the team keep the composure. Like, oftentimes I see like people just get mad, like that was a bad call, and then one thing goes to another, and you see people like, and they lose." And I thought it was huge how you saw like the energy of the team. You weren't necessarily looking at like the X's and the O's, or like, the matchups and this and that, but you could just see the energy of the game, kind of thing, and like the intangibles, have you will, right?
Yeah.
I think our most famous, or for me, in my mind, I remember one of our most famous debates was, if you had a basketball player, if you could choose a basketball player, would you rather have Manu Ginobili or Carmelo Anthony?
Right.
And I remember just thinking, or I remember arguing with you, like, Carmelo Anthony is a better like foundation, solid piece, like, to go around. He's like a bigger talent. That's what you're gonna want to have to like kind of pull people to. And you were like, no, Ginobili is a winner. And he just kind of just does whatever it takes to win. And he's fun. He's a good team player. He doesn't care about starting. He doesn't like none of that. And um, you know, whatever it is, 10 plus years later, I will concede that you were you've persuaded me. I'm now kind of that mindset more so. Uh and I would take Manu over Carmelo
Nice.
if I was starting a team.
Told you so. Ha ha. I'm just kidding.
That's cool,
No,
man.
yeah, one of the reasons why like I kind of admired that about you, I think when I watched that in the game is because that's something that I want to do. That's something that I've been working on, because I'm one of those people that at least in the past I didn't really hold my composure very well. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If things start going south, I'll start blaming the referees, I'll start complaining that people are fouling me or whatever, and it's just like a slippery slope. And then I started thinking to myself, I'm like, that's not helping me and it's not helping the team. So why am I acting this way? You know?
Yeah.
I see other people kind of hold it together better. And I notice that their probability of winning goes up. There is kind of a benefit a little bit to like the style that I used to have because I'll get mad. And when I would get mad, it would be like the dark side of the force.
Yeah.
I would get, it would give me energy. But having said that, I just don't like playing like that anymore. Like so many times I would want to get in fights with my friends and stuff like that, and it was just stupid. And I was just later on, like immediately after the game was over, I wouldn't feel that anymore. And it's just so important in the moment. I don't know why,
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, it's funny. I feel like there should be like a documentary on like the psychology of, I'd say psychology of basketball and traffic, right? Like you can meet the nicest person and then you put them behind the wheel and someone kind of cuts them off and it's like, oh, cut me off. Like I gotta get you back. And like, it's totally different personality. And same thing in basketball, right? Like I know people that are cool as ice off the court and they get a referee messed up call or whatever, and they could be vindicated in their argument, but they get, I think part of it is like the heart rate's up and so the body's under duress.
Yeah.
And, it's definitely funny seeing people's personalities change.
Yeah.
For duress.
Totally. One of my favorite quotes is, "You learn more in an hour of play than a year of conversation."
Oh, I like that. I like that. Let me turn on this lamp here real quick. Just
sure. Yeah. Yes, sir. Where are you, Barry? Where are you?
I'm in an undisclosed location.
Are you serious?
Yeah. No, I'm house sitting for one of my real estate clients. It's as you can tell, it's a nice house that they.
Dang, I was like, dang, that's a nice. I like that roof or that ceiling right there, elevated
ceiling. Yeah, the little vaulted ceiling is dope.
All right, hey, so let's just go through the drawers. Let's see what's in there. Like let's open things up. Let's see.
Let me know. I'll go get a little party started.
Hey, just in case people are watching this, I'm interested, or maybe I want you to kind of tell them what you got going on as far as that community garden or whatever you got going on there.
For sure.
Yeah.
So my partners and I, we have a community garden that we're starting on the medical center, Northwest Medical Center of San Antonio, Fredericksburg and Medical being the closest cross street. But essentially we have this, it's a house, it's a big ranch style house that is approximately like 3,500 square feet that we have remodeled into where it can be 5 individual studio efficiencies or a big house for a family reunion, right? And so our plan with that is to put it up on Airbnb for short-term rentals. But then the rest of the property, the rest of the 2 acres, used to be an old farm in the early 1900s. And so we're restoring the farm in short, right? And we're starting that with a community garden that we're going to build. We're building somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 20 beds, all out of recycled, what are called ligustrums. They're kind of like the dandelions of trees, if you will. We had to do a lot of clearing in the back to the space where that gets the best sunlight for the garden. We did a lot of clearing of that. So we're building some plotted beds, and half of the beds are going to be dedicated to kind of youth programs, right? There's a daycare across the street, Boy Scouts, um, different other youth organizations. And then the other half is going to be dedicated to really anyone in San Antonio that's looking for a plot to grow food out of, kind of thing. So we'll be starting there, and then we'll be also hosting events, right? So birthday parties, graduation parties, banquets, all that kind of stuff. So it's a very unique opportunity that I'm blessed to be a part of. And it's kind of twofold in that there is a capitalist side to it, right? That inspires me to work hard. But then there is I don't want to call it socialist aspect to it, but there is a true community give back, provide value, right, to the community, and not asking people for a dollar or anything out of that. So there is a true unity community movement behind it that I'm excited and pumped about.
Nice. Hey, just so you kind of, well, I kind of wanted to explain something about kind of like capitalist socialist. Just
Yeah.
because somebody's a capitalist doesn't mean that they're not helping people. It just
Right.
means that, like for example, you as a trainer, you're helping your clients. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're um, typically what ends up happening in a traditional capitalist model. And just so people know, I'm not like, oh, capitalist is the best and that's the only way. I'm just saying what I find in my experience is that when you're in that model, you end up doing things that are better for people anyway. So for example, you end up getting more money by retaining your clients. So you're naturally going to take better care of them. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? So it's not like you're just in it for the money. You don't care about it. Anyway, I just want to say that real quick. No, that's really cool. Is Lupe involved at all or no?
She has helped and volunteered at like some volunteer events. We actually had to form a committee we applied for this what's called Change X grant. It's a Microsoft backed initiative that's really trying to help community give seed funding for people to start community garden like initiatives. There's other things out there, like if you wanted to raise bees or stuff like that, but we got this grant from the Change X.
So you won it?
We didn't win it. You just had to apply for it, right? There's
how much money is it? A secret?
No, it was $1,800.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was a good startup that's going to get us a lot of plants and some signage and stuff like that. So, but as part of that, we had to formulate a team, right? And so Lupe is one of our team members on that. She's involved in a limited capacity.
Oh, okay. AKA she does nothing. I know. I know, Barry. Just like she did the workout that day.
But she was there. She was there though. She was part of it. So that's you remember. So part of the original sales crew, Damian Pakacic.
Yeah.
He gave me one of the best. I remember he told me his sales pitch, kind of to Lifetime, and I was like, wow, it's pretty good.
What is it?
As he told people, he's like, what you need to do is you got to get in the habit of just driving to the parking lot. If you just drive to the parking lot, go in the gym or not, but you got to drive to the park. You got to get that in your routine. You got to drive parking lot.
Okay.
Drive to the parking lot. That's it. Because and his point was, if you just make it a habit and you're at the parking lot, eventually you're like, let me go in the gym for 1 minute, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
Even if you just walk in and walk out, you're creating that momentum ball. You're making it a habit. Right? You're ingraining that habit, kind of thing. So, shout out to Damien.
How does that apply to what we were talking about? Like there had to be a reason why you brought it up, and I just might have missed it. Or did you miss it?
I had a point, but I forgot it.
I do remember something you told me though. You told me the 3 questions you ask people and how you close them on training. You remember it?
Yeah, I want to hear what you say, but I think it's the same 3 that I'm thinking of.
Okay, let's see if I can remember it. I'm just gonna say, I don't want to put too much thought into it, but I think it's something like, and I used it and it actually worked. So like basically, you're like, so how'd you like the workout? And then you say, could you see yourself, or do you think if you worked out like this, do you think you'll get to your goal? And then the last question you say is, can you see yourself working with me like twice a week?
Yeah, that's it. That's
That's
it.
it?
Yeah, that was
Wow.
it. Because I was
Dope.
never, I, I could sell my product, my style of training, right? And
Yeah.
I knew how to, it was almost like the psychology of working out kind of thing that I knew I could get someone to say yes through. I was never good at SNSing, right?
Mhm.
Selling somebody on a training package, but train with Paul, right? It was more like, no, you need me.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, no, I mean that was it. That was that uh Miguel Catrino, my trainer at Bally's. He taught me that,
He
and
taught you those three,
I ran with.
and you taught me,
That's
and
it.
I used it a handful of times, and it seemed to work pretty well.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, because when your heart rate's up and you're under duress, I mean, of course you're feeling like, oh, I ain't worked like this and I don't know how long. As a trainer, if you can push them, but at the same time compliment and encourage, if you have that right mixed ratio, I mean, that just really gets the people's endorphins going. So I mean, of course they're gonna want it. Now, can they afford it? That's a different story. But again, it kind of goes back to that original from Bally's. You got to make them want it. They got to want to work out with you, kind of thing.
So what's like your approach? And we've been talking for like an hour, so we'll kind of wrap it up here. But I'm interested in your approach with real estate because you just do residential, right?
I do it all. I won't turn you down, right?
Okay.
But for the most part, I do residential, and then I also do land. Um, and it's funny. Because I've always done real estate since I've had my real estate. I've done it like on the side. I have been a very, I'd say, consultative style, right, kind of thing. Because real estate there's a lot of parallels between training, but then it's also very different, right? There's with training, you're putting somebody through a workout, and then you're guiding them through it. And I'd say even more so, like that's totally, I think the hardest adjustment is, or at least from a lifetime personal trainer, is all your business is there in the doors. It's at one location. All you need to do is just be there, be out there talking to people, and business is going to happen. Real
Mm-hmm.
estate is totally different, right? Like there's not one physical location where buyers and sellers just go and hang out and like are walking on a treadmill, right? That you can just go spark up a conversation. So it's different in that sense, kind
Mm-hmm.
of. And it's also different in that, you know, you control the movements that you're guiding people through, right? And whereas people want to see whatever house they can kind of see on the internet. I mean, that it shows them. And so it's really about just kind of being able to understand what's important to each person, right? And helping them guide them through the situation, right? So if I'm talking to a seller, it's about helping them understand, one, getting them to take their pride down in their home, because the home is real reflective of what someone's lived in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the equity, their hard work, that represents like typically a lifetime's of hard work up to that point. Um, get them to take their pride down and put a buyer's lens perspective on, getting them to see like, okay, you see this little rotted wood in your trim, it's got to be fresh. It's got to make me want to do it. But then also helping them understand the expectations of it, kind of thing, right? Like it's funny. I'd say real estate and this new age dating apps are very similar, right?
Real
Very
estate
similar.
and the like Tinder.
Uh-huh.
Is it hot or not? So you
Well,
gotta make the that first picture pop. Pow! Curb appeal.
I wouldn't even say it's so much about that first pic. I mean, yes, your pictures are important, but more than anything, your pictures need to reflect reality. And I can't stress that enough,
Oh, so
right?
don't be
Like
lying, because that way when you meet them in person, it's like
exactly,
I don't
exactly.
want that.
Exactly. I mean, at least in real, I've been on a few Bumble dates kind of thing, and um, I've had to hide my like disappointed face, right? When you meet somebody,
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's like it's
dang.
kind of it's a bummer. It really is. It's just like I don't know. It's just
Are,
but
are
at
you?
least
Uh huh. Are
when
you, are
you
you married, Barry?
I am not married.
You're not married. Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Um, and but at least in real estate, when you get in there, you just bye Felicia, like kind of you're not staying in. But that is what when you find that property that resembles like the pictures. That's just gonna help make it go so much faster, kind of thing.
Did Udi get you kind of into real estate, or were you already kind of doing it? Are you somehow tied in with him?
Yeah, so Udi is has his own brokerage, Uriah Real Estate Organization,
Okay.
and he was having, I would say he was part inspiration that made me want to do it. But I also wanted to, because my house was over in Alamo Ranch and I worked in Windcrest, which people that are not familiar with San Antonio, it in traffic time it took about 90 minutes, one way, and so I wanted to sell my house and move closer. And I know one of the biggest expenses, as far as buyers and sellers is commission, kind of thing. And so that's really what inspired me to get my real estate license, was just to save at least 3%.
So you could sell your own house.
I could sell my own house, exactly.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so
What
that
about
was like
Javi?
Javi.
Is he in it too? Is that what he does, or
He's in it too. Javier is also in it. He too has a side job. He's a radiologist, respiratory therapist.
He's definitely not a radiologist.
Well, he's in the medical field. And so that's his main job. But I know he does quite a bit of real estate volume as well. So
okay.
Yeah, he double dips too, kind of thing.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, man.
Maybe I'll have to join that squad.
That's actually when you say what are some of the things you remember, that's one of the things I remember us talking about when we first were working at Lifetime. And I remember, I think we were still in training. I want to say we were cleaning treadmills or something like that. We were talking about like, yeah, man, we got to get into real estate and we'll do flips.
Yeah.
Do that kind of stuff or whatever. And so that is one of the things I remember. It was one of our first conversations. I do remember that.
And I still like right now I'm fixing up my house and the real estate market's so hot. So I think I might actually just end up selling it.
Nice.
Because I bought this house as an investment property. So what I'm thinking about doing, if I do end up selling this house, is kind of purchasing a home that I'm gonna turn around, but I'm gonna kind of just live like on a air mattress or something while I fix it up.
Gotcha.
Just an idea. I don't
know, man. Yeah, cool.
All right, buddy.
I know you know like 25 agents, but I know a guy that can help you out. You know what I mean? If you're getting serious about.
Oh, Uriah or Javi?
I mean, those are a couple of the guys that I know, but I know another guy that can even do even better.
Oh man, there you go again, just like at Lifetime. I can't sell you on this other guy. I can sell you on me.
I'm just saying I can help you out, Paul.
Paul, can you see yourself not living in this house anymore? Could you see your bank account being bigger? No, I'm just kidding.
No, but really though, could you?
Yeah. Hey man, good chat. Is there anything else you want to say or?
Man, Paul, just thanks for having me on. Thanks for doing this. One of my goals for 2021 was to be more active on social media. Mm-hmm. It's funny in real life, I feel like I'm as extroverted as they get, but when it comes to social media, I'm kind of as introverted as it gets. And so I'm working to turn over a new leaf and change that. And so this is just a step in that direction. So I appreciate you having me on, brother.
You do a podcast? I thought I remember you.
I do have a podcast that we do. It's called Positive Comments Podcast. We're only on SoundCloud right now. Okay. And our thought process behind that right now is, initially we're not that entertaining. Everybody kind of sucks at first, right? When you start putting out content. And so we figured we're going to do like 10, 15 episodes and then we'll upload it to Spotify and iTunes and all that good stuff.
Who's we?
My good friend, Mike Ross. I work with him at Rackspace. He got me into it's like a public speaking group called Toastmasters.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
And
nice.
Really good dude. And I just figured I needed a kind of a running mate, to do it with. I didn't want to just be the only one talking. Yeah.
So you guys are just talking to each other
right now, yeah. And then we'll pull people in. And so basically, what we've done is we'll pull up like one or two positive current events, right? Just to highlight something good that's going on in the world. And then we like to talk about philosophical hour, right? Whether it's outlook on health and fitness, personal finance, business career, belief system, whatever the case is. Just try to give it somewhat of a different perspective, but still have a positive feel, whether we disagree on it, but show that we can disagree, but still have good energy, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Sweet. If you want to link any of that in the comments, feel free to do that. Maybe
Definitely.
somebody wants to listen to it or something. I don't know.
I got you. Well, I appreciate it, Paul, man. You take care, brother, and we'll be in touch.
Yes, sir.